a horse
Woo,
in the, what is that
welcome,
thing, you know?
welcome. Brenda is on fire, so I have to hurry up
Sorry.
and hit this record button. We are recording. We are live on Facebook. We're excited about all of you watching the replays. Hello, hello from everyone. Gosh, if you're listening to the replay, you're watching the replay, all the things. So exciting. And you know what? This is the day the Lord has made. Let's rejoice. I mean, let's rejoice and be glad in it. No, really.
No, really.
No, really. Like, can I just say, like, you get ready, you guys, because I'm about singing some songs from Sunday school. I feel them coming
Do
on.
it.
Like I had so many, I was giggling, like, oh my gosh, I thought I forgot all those songs, and these little ones kept coming up. And I just want to say a couple things before we like jump in, because we have two portions, right? We have like two portions for this.
It's
We're
a double
combining
portion.
two. It's a double
joy.
portion day.
Double joy.
Double joy. Two things. Number one, mark your calendars. Next Friday, there will not be a portion. Thank you. Thank you for that. I did curl my hair today, and it's still even with a headpiece on. We are not going to be having the portion next week because all of us will either be prepping or doing things, getting ready for Passover, Pesach. So for those of you celebrating, and a lot of people have asked what calendar we are on. We choose to be, we're on the calendar, this calendar, like it's the month of Nisan, starts at sundown on Saturday night. And we'll start the new month of Nisan. Passover will start beginning. If everyone's getting ready, getting their, we follow the same calendar as Israel because of a unity issue. I mean, I think we kind of all want it in this group for this purpose. Not that if you follow a different calendar, love you all, that's fine. Just for people have asked us, so that's where we are. So you'll hear us. That's when we will announce things. We'll be announcing along with that calendar in this group. Is we just follow the calendar of Israel. So it's again a unity issue, and that's where we are at to keep it simple. Okay. but I have a request of you guys before we jump in. I have a request. If you have, we're all about, a lot of people are, virtually right now. I want to ask if you have room at your table, your virtual table this season of Passover, would you invite someone to sit at your table with you for your Passover? And what I want to ask is, if you are here and you're alone, and you wish that someone would invite you, I'm going to say you have not because you asked not, because I'm asking you to ask. I'm asking you to post in the portion and say, would someone invite me to their table? And some of you might just set a laptop up on the side, open up a Zoom, add a bunch of people, and maybe you have 5 or 6 people at your house. They're all sitting at the table with you virtually. But I just want to say, would you invite someone? I would ask you in the portion. Maybe we'll start one post so it's not all over trying to find everybody, but say, I'll ask Sydney to a post, okay, today, a post if you're looking for, you'd like to join someone virtually for Passover, or if you are saying, hey, I have seats available so someone can come find you. So we are not going to facilitate this. We don't have the manpower or woman power to do that, but I'm going to ask all of y'all to do it. I'm going to ask all of y'all to jump in and do this, because guess what? That's what we're going to talk about today. It takes literally a village. It takes a community. And I'm asking y'all to put your money where your mouth is. Let's jump up and be community. This is a new year in that it's the beginning of the feasts, the first feast. This is a big deal. And a lot of ladies are like, I don't know what to do, or they're brand new to it. I'm going to ask you, and I hope you hear the passion behind this. I want you to grab each other's arms and don't let no woman left behind. Okay. So go find each other. You have time. And again, I will reach out to Sydney while we're doing this and ask her to do a post for us, just so you guys can communicate who has room. Again, this is virtual, or maybe you invite someone if you have someone close. Remember, if you go on the portion and you look at the calendar, go up to that map that I did, where are you? Find yourself and see who's around you and connect with someone, connect with each other. This is so important. Brenda, what are we doing with this month? Oh my gosh. Here we start it. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Seriously. My hands are shaking, ladies. I have been so excited all week to get in here and chat with you. Can I just share one thing out of order? It's not out of order, but
this is
it's out of order. Yeah. It's out of order, but it's not out of order. You know what I mean? Okay. whatever. Probably not. Probably not. Okay. So I have this image. You guys, all of you artists can draw this real quick and throw it up. But I had this image of the stick figurines, because that's about how good I draw. Stick figurines of ladies, right? So it's a circle for the head, and then like a little neck, and then 2 little sticks for the arms, and then a triangle for the dress, right? That's a lady, right? That's a woman. Okay. All right. Well, so reading in this dry Torah portions, right? Joking, wink, wink. Okay. I'm reading, and I start looking up some of the words, right? So I'm looking up this word. I'm trying to find the scripture right now. I'm pretty sure I took notes. Yeah, it's Exodus 26. Would help if I put my glasses on. Exodus 26, if you guys want to turn there real quick, verses 5 and 6. And it says,
Oh my gosh, so excited about this right now.
It says, okay, all right, okay. It says make 50 loops. Make 50 loops on one sheet. It's talking about the curtains, and make 50 loops on the edge of the sheet in the second set. The loops are to be opposite one another. Make 50 fasteners of gold and couple the sheets together with the fasteners so that the tabernacle forms a single unit. Okay, that's the first part. Okay, then it says, join the sheets together, 50 loops, 50 fasteners, put the fasteners, join the tent together so that it forms a single unit. Okay, so in the Hebrew, when you're hearing the word, making a unit or bringing it together, what we're hearing is the word echad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's talking about fastening things together so that they are in unity. So Charlie, when you said that, Charlie and I haven't talked because she's out of state. She's far away.
I'm at a family reunion in South Carolina. So and this is obviously I'm sitting in a camping chair. Can I just say that? So yeah. So I'm kind of trying to balance all my stuff on my knees and everything right here. So
okay. So in verse 5, now it reads a little bit different in each one, but it's talking about making 50 loops of one sheet. So let me just show you my picture. Can you, let's see. Can you see my picture right here?
Yeah, down a little bit more. And we're still. And closer. And the light was, oh, you had it perfect. Oh, down. Oh, there, it's perfect. There, we see it.
Okay. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
So the word for coupled, oh gosh, I need to find my notes, guys. I'm sorry. Maybe we should talk about something else until I find my notes, because I don't want to misrepresent this, and it's so important. It's so beautiful, and I really did think that I thought that I took notes on this so that I could give you the actual words with the Hebrew definitions and all that good stuff. But how about if this? I'll just tell you. So it says the cloud. Okay, it's talking about the cloud covering the tent. See, I'm really, you guys, sorry. I'm just verklempt. This is all just hitting me.
She was like, we got on there early and she was like,
yeah.
I'm like,
No,
how much green tea did you have? But it's not about that. It's
I didn't.
It's the Shekinah.
It is. So in these scriptures, and I guess, you know what, Holy One, if I am not to share this in detail, then I will not share this in detail, and that's perfectly fine. So what I'll just tell you is what's in my heart. There are words that are in English that are words like, there's a word that says one another in this particular scripture that I'm talking about, which I can't find now, but it's somewhere in Exodus, somewhere in the book of Exodus. And it's talking about the loops joining together and the curtains being joined together and being brought into unity. And the word that is used so that the curtains come together one to another, it says one to another, right? The word there is Isha Akot, which is in Hebrew. You know what Isha is, guys? It's female, it's women. And Akot is sisters. What it's saying is that all of those curtains are being joined together, sister by sister. They are being looped, the loops, the twining, the binding, the twisting. Think about the marriage covenant when the wife walks around the husband and binds herself and winds herself around him, bringing unity into the future family. That is what is happening here in the tabernacle. And the words that are being used in English don't explain what is happening from the heart of God. What he's saying is he wants the sisters joining together. They're the ones that are holding the curtain coverings together. And the brothers are coupling. And the word for coupling, coupling the links together, coupling the loops together, the word for coupling is the same root word that is for fellowship. And it's a male word, a masculine word. So do you see what's happening here? Just in the midst of these curtains that are blowing, the curtains that are surrounding the presence of God, that are ushering in and ushering out, there is a sisterhood. Isha Akot. It is Isha is females, women, and Akot is sisters. That's what the link, that's what the items are that are holding the curtains together. Does that not blow you away? See, building the Mishkan, building this tabernacle is not about a building. It is
Mm.
about building. It is about, we just got forgiven. We just got forgiven for the worst of the worst of the worst. And the Holy One is setting, the heavens are on fire with celebration. It says in Isaiah that when one person repents, the angels are rejoicing.
Yes.
An entire nation has repented. An entire nation, those seeds are in us. They repented, and the entire universe is rejoicing, guys. That's where we're at in this Torah portion. I know that if you read it in English, it's going to sound dry, but what's happening behind the scenes here is that the Holy One is
Hallelujah.
knitting his people together because he asked us to build a place, a dwelling place, so that he can abide with us. It's not building him a place so that he can go and abide there and we can go visit him on weekends like you know
Yeah, we don't have like
what we do.
visitation
No,
schedules.
no.
Yeah.
He said, build this, bring this unity, echad, this unity, this oneness where nothing, where there's no beginning and no ending, and there's no holes, and there's no holes in the dike.
Mm.
He
No.
said, bring this, build this, grab a hold of your sisters one to another, link arms. This is how we do it. We link arms, brothers linking arms, wives and husbands linking arms,
Yes.
brothers and sisters linking arms.
Yes.
This is what is building this Mishkan. This is what's building this beautiful dwelling of the presence of God. And then think about this, the cloud covering has not left.
Mm-mm.
He did not, his presence did not leave. His cloud covering, which the cloud covering speaks to Moshe in our Torah portion, right? Well, who speaks to Moshe? The Lord God Almighty, right? Messiah Yeshua. He is the voice, right?
Yes. Yes.
He is the voice. That's what's happening here. That's what's settling upon us, ladies. You have been forgiven. It does not matter. Yes, there will be consequences. Of course, there's always consequences so that we don't do it again, for one thing. That's how we teach our kids, right? Well, this is going to hurt because you're never going to do it again, right? So you're going to remember this. There's going to be consequences to our behaviors always.
Mm.
But the thing is that he's with us as we walk through those. And when we navigate through them from a place of a repentant heart, it's like, thank you, Father, for showing me the results of walking outside of your ways. When we walk outside your ways, we get weeds and we get snakes bitten and we get all of these things that happen when we're outside your ways. But when we walk in your ways, there's grace. And even in the hard things, there's grace. The cloud covering, don't get out from under the cloud covering. Don't do it. Don't do it. You'll get sunburned. There's no water out there. You'll be
Right.
thirsty. But the
Yes.
cloud covering has everything that you need, and that is the presence of the Almighty. And He's saying, I want you guys to join together so that in the midst of your joining, that's right where I am. So
Yes.
I'm in the middle of it all with each and every one of you. And you know what? That means we put aside our differences. Oh, there goes my tooth, Charlie. Did you hear that? I had a tooth pulled and now I have a hard time talking. My tongue goes like in a crooked way. Sorry. Sorry. Too much info,
Wouldn't
right?
even notice.
Sorry.
Nope,
Oh,
you're
I can hear
awesome.
myself like a platypus. But thanks, Lord, for keeping me humble. But the neat thing is that in the midst of all of this, that when we are gathered together and we're arm in arm and we're linking one to another, we're making sure that our sisters are not dwelling in their past sin. We're making
Yes.
sure that they're being reminded of the glorious, glorious, glorious forgiveness that has been
Yes.
given to us, and that the angels are rejoicing because we've repented.
Mm.
And so if they need to have someone walk with them through repentance, do it. It doesn't, you're in the Mishkan. Hey guys, this is where we get our shovels out and we start getting those ashes out of the way, and we're stoking the flame and we're making sure that nobody else is seeing it. That's what
Yes.
we get to do here. We get to cover for one another, and we get to do that arm in arm. It's not a single thing. It's not individual by yourself all alone. And if you are by yourself and you're all alone, thank you so much, Charlie, for hearing the voice of God. He's calling for us to be united. That
Yes.
means we put aside petty differences. We put
Yes.
aside things that will bring division. It's not important.
It's not
those
time to
things
be
are not
shy.
important. It is
This is not time to be shy. And I'm going to say this whole portion, both portions, but this whole thing, he did not give this to one person. He gave it to a community. He didn't bring down the commandments. He didn't bring down the life-giving words to one person. Like, I did it just for you. Well, I mean, yes, but no.
Yes, he did, but no.
He gave it to a community. So that and then everything we see after this is all about a community. It is all about community.
That's right.
It is about every single thing. I mean, Brenda already started it.
I'm sorry. I got out of
order.
No,
no, you didn't. You did perfect order, I think. I mean, we're going to see in chapters 39 and 40 in Exodus, we're going to see 14 times. This is just the nerd fact for my friends out there that are the nerders. 14 times Moses says, just as the Lord commanded. He does it 7 in 39 and 7 in 40. I want y'all to take that, and that could be on your little list of things you wonder. There's a reason, it's not a mistake that said 7 times in each one of those chapters.
Hint, 7 Shabbat. Little hint there.
Exactly.
Little hyperlink.
You got 7, then you have a little breaky, and then you got 7 more, and then another breaky. And then what's really cool, I kept hearing in my heart, well, 2 things I kept hearing it today. And for all of you who are like freaking out because we didn't start in prayer, a lot of times we don't. If you're new, hi, we just get excited because we've been praying all morning, and then we jump in prayer. I pray you join us in a attitude of prayer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say that's like a religious thing, but we try. I mean, we'll remember sometimes. So Father, thank you that you've already blessed this time. We love you. Amen. So there, you can check the box. But we are just excited when we come on here, because usually we're like, we haven't talked all week, and then we're chatting like, what's your download? What is he saying to you? And this morning I kept hearing so much about community. And the one thing that I hear the most from all of you, whether you are in the cafe as a member, or you're here in the portion for our Friday studies, or in this group, what I hear all the time is how much you're starving for community. You're so hungry for community. And I want to encourage all of you, those of you who are not as outgoing, maybe, or maybe you're not, you could be an outgoing introvert, or not outgoing, a shy extrovert. Does that even make sense? Yeah. You could be a shy extrovert because you like people, but you're too shy to do it for some reason. I'm going to ask for healing and all the things. Go out there, find a friend, let's start connecting these curtains, because I believe he's calling us to connect the curtains. I believe he's calling us this morning that for you to reach out to the women who he's putting on your heart. This is the time right now. You don't have to wait until Yom Kippur, where you're like, oh, Rosh Hashanah, let's get rid of all the stuff. Let's prepare my heart and make amends. Let's just do it now. And so it's not with you. If there's a grievance, if your feelings are hurt, if there's something going on, go to your friends. Make this right, so that so there's not a missing link. If you you saw the picture of these clasping together, let's not let there be this holes where the curtain isn't contained, right? Because that was the one thing. The other thing was that a huge push in these two parshas, all about unity. And can you believe this is it? We're done next when we meet in 2 weeks, because we won't meet next Friday. In 2 weeks, when we come back together, you guys, we're going to be in Leviticus. How did that happen? We're finishing up. So we want to say, I'm hearing this unity about being ahad. We want to be ahad the way that Yeshua said that. I want you to be ahad. That's what he cried out to them. Be ahad the way that I and my Father are ahad.
That's right.
Be one.
Yeah.
Be connected.
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting that that's the biggest thing that's happening through this last year is the separation and the divisions and whether, and it's interesting, again, we're going into the section of where we're having to cover our mouths or cover our faces because so that we can't be seen. We're going into a new month right now that's going, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I just want to encourage you guys. He's going to be shaking you up. Do not be shocked if all of a sudden you're feeling like you should be calling some people and saying you're sorry, even though you didn't do anything wrong, even though it's their fault. You're saying, I have to go grasp this link. I have to go make this right. I have to go make this connection, because when you're in church, or if you've gone to church, or like I went to Sunday church like most of my life, and they'd ask you to reach across the aisle and grab the hand of the person, and everybody would grab hands to pray or something. I'm thinking, what would happen? Or like Red Rover when you were a kid and you would do the snake bite so nobody could get through. You're like you're gonna hold tight. So when someone tried to run through, sisters, he's calling us to grab hands. He's calling us to unite. He's calling, if you've let go of someone's hand next to you, because you need to go grab it, go find them and grab the hand, because he'll put it on your heart too, and you're going to hate it. And we love you, and you're going to hate it, but you're going to love it when you're done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in the midst of all of this, if we can just remember, like with this tour portion, finishing this all up and stuff, if we can just remember that where we have come from is a very difficult, hard place. And then there was this amazing, the Holy One. Can we just read that real quick, Charlie? Kind of just set our theme really quick?
Grab it.
Let's just do that really fast.
While you're looking that up to think, I want you guys to remember too that he is building heaven. They were building heaven on earth. That's what was happening here.
Yeah.
I mean, this was they were, again, we said wasn't for individuals. They were building heaven on earth. It was on earth as it was in heaven. And it was there.
Yep. So in Hebrew, here comes the geek. Got it? Okay. Here comes the geek. In Hebrew, the word "and" is the letter Vav. And the letter Vav is a hook, or like a tent peg that secures something very strongly, right? But it's also a chute, like chutes and ladders. It's like that. It connects heaven to earth. So in Hebrew, when the heavens were created, it says, Bereshit bara. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and Vav, the earth. So Hashamayim, and then the Vav, and Eretz, Eretz. So it's saying heavens and earth. In other words, there is a connection between the two, and it's not broken. That connection is there. The Vav is the connection. So whenever, like what Charlie's saying is, it's in heaven, guys, going on. There's a chute that's shooting it down here. And that's what the Mishkan, that's what the building of the tabernacle is. He's saying this is the blueprint that he took. He took Moses to the heavenlies up on Mount Sinai and showed him the blueprint. So Moses knew exactly what it was. He was there. Yes. He was there.
Yes.
So then at the very end of this Parsha, at the very last, it says Moses checks it all out and he's like, yeah, it's exactly. Well, how would he know? Because he was there. Yeah. Because this was heaven on earth. That's what this unity is that Charlie and I are chatting with you about today. It's heaven on earth. In the heavenly realm, the great witnesses are not fighting over, what time is sundown.
No.
They're not. They're not fighting about that. They're not fighting about all of the inconsequential things that are They're
Mm-mm.
not doing that,
Mm-mm.
and so we should be reflecting that here and now. It doesn't mean that we don't do things, one family will do something a certain way, another family would do something a certain way, but the catch is, are we being repairers of the breach, restorers of places to dwell, or are we standing on what we believe in our limited understanding is truth, and being so demanding that we are breaching, that we are disconnecting, that we are refusing to fellowship? Because that's not building the temple. Building the tabernacle. Building the tabernacle is not disconnecting because of disagreements. It's grabbing hold of arms and saying, I love you, and that love is going to cover. And so let's just put that aside and let's not talk about that right now. Maybe we'll be able to discuss this out and share our opinions with each other, but right in this moment we're supposed to be clasping hands. So let's do that. And that's not that that will change the way that the world runs.
Yes. And I want to make a
One person at
correction.
a time.
I
I'm sorry.
want to make a
Correct
correction that
me.
no, I'm making a correction, not to that. I'm making a correction to our calendar.
Oh,
Passover starts on the 27th and runs through April 4th.
mhm.
So everyone knows that's the schedule. So next week
Next week's not the 27th.
is
We're
not the
totally
27th. So
it's
that's
the
why
week
I'm off.
after.
I will be at a Passover conference. So, but I think I will be available that morning. But yeah, no. That was me thinking it
Thank
was the
you.
27th.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, thank you everyone. March 27th. Sorry. And we started a new
You gotta
religion
love
today.
us.
So, but what is happening this weekend is a new month of Nissan. Yay!
Yay.
Saved.
Yay. You
Saved.
guys
Yeah.
all get the opportunity to forgive us right here and right now. Like,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you. Guess what? Oh,
Thank
wait.
you.
I repent for not checking that fact. And so now it's all good because
We fixed it. We're fixed. We're fixed. Thanks. I'm glad I looked
thank
over. I'm
you.
like, wait a minute.
But
I think I'm just going to be at a Passover conference next weekend. It's not Passover. It's just a conference about Passover. Okay. And we're done.
I'm so jelly that you get to go to the Passover
You guys, can I just
conference.
make everyone jealous for a second? I'm
Yes,
going to do
go
it.
ahead. All
So
right, we'll give you
Sunday
30
night,
seconds.
let's see what's today. So Sunday night, I get to be in Tennessee, and I'll get to do the new moon with Keisha Gallagher and Deborah and all the fun people. I get to go to the new moon celebration at Deborah Flanagan's house. I'm so excited. So if you guys are watching, I know Deborah and Keisha jump in here every once in a while. I'm so thrilled. Like, and Simi, I get to see Simi. I get to like squeeze him and touch him. So I'm just super excited. And then Monday, I'm going to Jacob's Tent, and we'll be at a women's conference all day with a bunch of women at just all the women of Jacob's Tent, and enjoying them. And then back up on Thursday. What else am I doing? Thursday, going to meet with or Wednesday, one day, the 18th. Oh no, I am right. I'm not going to the conference until the week after that.
27th.
Yeah. The next week I will be at the Becky Book Conference. I get to jump in and have lunch with all the Becky Book authors. So I get to meet with Dr. Robin, all the Becky Book ladies. So Keisha, Halisa, and everyone. I'm meeting all of them for lunch. It's going to be fun. So I get to do that. And then the next week I'll be at Jacob's Tent for the conference. So what a fun 2 weeks do I have coming up. I will be reporting for all of you. So excited.
Yeah. You give the hugs, represent.
I will be
sister.
giving the hugs and representing. So
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it. But
so clarification, we are meeting next week.
We are meeting next week. I'm fired. Thank you for playing. But
who's going to fire me
now? You have 2 weeks now to find friends to invite to go to Passover with you to go to your Passovers. Yeah. Go ahead, start. What are we starting? Where are you going to start reading? Exodus where? 35?
Yeah, let's read this. Let's read this right here. Okay, so I'm going to read Exodus. Let's start with Exodus 33 real quick. It says Moses is, he's back up on the mountain.
Okay.
And he says, Father, he's talking to the Lord. He says, I beg you to show me your glory. And the Holy One says, I will cause all my glory to pass before you. And in your presence, I will, this is the Holy One speaking, I will pronounce the name of Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. Moreover, I show favor to whomever I will, and I display mercy to whomever I will. But my face you can't see, because a human being cannot look at me and remain alive. Here, he said, here is a place. Ha makom in Hebrew. Ha makom. If you guys want to study out that's an amazing thing. Ha makom. It's a place. Here is a place near me. Stand on the rock.
Okay.
Hyperlink. When my glory passes by, I'll put you inside a crevice in the rock. Hello, a crevice in the rock. Okay. And cover you with my hand until I pass by. And then I will remove my hand and you will see my back, but my face is not to be seen. So fast forward, verse 5, chapter 34. Adonai descended in the cloud, stood with him there, and pronounced the name of Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. He passed before him and proclaimed, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. Adonai is God, merciful and compassionate, slow to anger, rich in grace and truth, showing grace to the thousandth generation. Okay, are you guys getting this? This is the Holy One, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And he is pouring out his grace and mercy over Moshe as a representative, but the people as a nation, to let us know that his love, his kindness, his grace, he is overwhelmingly going to pour out upon us. And he will not leave us. It says that he's going to visit the generations. He said that he's not going to leave sin unaddressed, that it will go down 4 generations. The sin that is in the families will not remain unaddressed. He will go into every family, every person, and he will visit that sin. When it says that he's visiting, it's not saying, I'm going to curse you and your kids too. He's saying, I am visiting. Look it up in the Hebrew. The word visit means to come into a place and to make your presence known. He's coming in to those generations where sin has run rampant, from the grandfather to the father, to the son, to the grandson. He's going in. He's not leaving anyone alone. He's never going to forsake us. This is where we're coming from. And then bam, fast forward. Now we're in the finishing of the building of the tabernacle, and all the people are throwing everything at Moses so fast they can't give enough. Why? They just did the golden calf. Why, Charlie? Why? Because they were forgiven, right?
Yeah.
Because the joy of the Lord filled them up, and all of a sudden they realize, I'm redeemed. I'm redeemed. I'm redeemed. I'm
Yes.
redeemed. And that's why they're giving. That's why they're looking through, they're pulling everything out, they're taking everything off there, not to appease an angry God,
No.
to give out of love and exuberant joyfulness, because everything that they had was not as valuable as his presence was with them. So that's
Well, and it was so much, right? They were like, okay, enough, go back.
yeah,
And then we
stop. Whoa,
started,
hold on. Come on now.
wait, yeah, come
We
on,
don't have
keep on
enough
going.
storehouses.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wait, we don't have any storehouses.
We don't have any storehouses yet.
Wait a minute. We don't have, I have to go rent I'm going to have to go rent a storage unit here. Well, and then what does he tell us? What is the seal to the deal, guys? What's the seal to the deal in the marriage ceremony? What's the seal to the deal here? Think about that. What do you think?
Shabbat. Because he comes right in and he says, here's what you do. I want you to build. Here's your wedding ring.
Putting the ring on
I
the
want you
finger.
to work to do all this stuff, because he knew that they were so excited that I read this. I didn't make this up. I read that a commentary saying he knew that they would be so excited. It is said that he knew that they were so excited and they're giving that they would have not stopped for Shabbat. And that's why he had to keep reminding them, in the middle of this creating, you have to stop in Shabbat. You have to stop creating for one day.
No matter how good it is, no matter how fun it is, no matter how much you're happy with it, no matter how much you love it,
they would be so zealous and they would be so getting excited. You see him stopping, saying, well, okay.
Yeah.
You have just remember, these are the words that Adonai has commanded you to work for 6 days, but on the 7th day, it's holy. It's your Shabbat. I'm telling you, sisters, he's called all of us to the same thing. And he's telling us we get to, and I hear a lot of, people worrying about, oh, well, I can't follow the letter of the law. If you're going to go I hear it. You know what? He loves I made a note to myself how much he just honors our little imperfect attempts. but we're still supposed to be striving to do better. We're still supposed to be studying to show ourselves approved. We're still supposed to be, he says, to be perfect. And look the word up, Google it. I mean, whatever you need to do, look the word up, really look up that word perfect. Don't Google it, but
Killing me.
do your study on the word
Sorry.
perfect, because God, because he says, I'm perfect. You know, people, I can't be perfect. I'm not Jesus. Well, he said you could be. Well, did he? But he's saying you need to get in there and study the word. You need to walk out the ones that you can walk out. Of course, you can't
Yeah.
walk out the commandments for men. You're not a man. You can't do
Right.
that.
Right.
Of course, you can't walk commandments out that are specific to the high priest. Of course not, because that's not who you're called to be. So just keep in your lane and do your best. That's me today.
Yes. And you know, the thing is that how much do we love him? I mean, all of us here, we're born again.
Yes, that's what
Everyone
we're going to
here is
talk about.
born again, right?
This is exciting. Right
Eh,
now, we're going to talk about born again
Are
again.
you? Oh man, you're so good. Boy, you got
No, I'm
you
just
got a
saying, we're just
connection to
doing,
God.
I'm
But
just saying this
everyone's
whole thing. It's all about being born again
it's
again.
it's all being born again. And so if you're born again, then the words of your God hold value and weight. They're called kavod. They're heavy. It's a weightiness. It's a Bill Bullock's got a really great word that he says. It's a heavy word. He has a word that he says all the time that's a real heavy word. I like it, but I can't think of it. Anyway, the heaviness of his words, the weightiness of his words, they're valuable and important. And if we don't do anything else in our lives, we need to look at the words that he has written. That's what we base all of our lives upon. The words, that's what Yeshua did. All he did, he spoke the words that had been written, not just written in the scrolls, but written by the Holy One himself, right? So anything that is that heavy like that, when God himself says it, we need to pay attention. Even if we don't understand it, it's okay. He didn't say, I want you to understand this. I want you to study this out and understand it. And once you understand it, do it. No, he didn't. He said, do it. Okay, well, then that means, like Charlie said, it's like, so we're like riding a tricycle today, and maybe in 6 years or 5 years or 20 years or 100 years, we'll be driving a big old semi truck full of stuff. But right now we're riding a tricycle. It's okay because
With our training wheels.
with the training wheels and some help.
Yeah.
And some help. Somebody
But
pushing
he's
you.
running next to you saying, you can do it,
Yeah, you can
sister.
do
You
it.
can
Let's
do it.
go.
He's clapping. He's encouraging you on. As we go through this next, and we go through 36, I mean, everything more that they had more than enough. We're going to see that. I love they're going through again. We talked about all the scarlet threads. We
Love
talked
that.
about the O and the B guy anointings, how he anointed them to do just like crazy stuff. Ladies, this is a season when he's wanting to pour out. If you're feeling like stirring up in you to get creative and to do some things in your home, or
There's
to
a
build,
reason for that.
there's a reason, because this is the season when he's starting to stir up gifts in you, and you all of a sudden know how to do things you don't know how to do.
Yeah.
Receive that as a gift of the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm. Hey, before we jump on past that,
Yeah.
today what hit me when I was reading this again this morning, that Oholiav was from the tribe of Dan, and Betzalel is from the tribe of Judah. So do you guys see the connection? Those of you that are really smart, like it took me 20 something years, never mind. Those two tribes were the tribes that were the division. One was the northern tribes and the other was the southern tribes. Southern tribes were Judah. The northern tribes were Dan and all of the other guys. Benjamin and Judah were the southern tribes. Do you see that even in this, you guys, even in this, he's saying, stay unified. He
Yes.
unified those because he knew that what was going to happen was division. So he was unifying even then.
Now,
Those
aren't
are
we
the
going to
seeds
see it's
of
what's on
unification.
heaven? What's in heaven as it is on earth? We're seeing in heaven, the tribes are unified. We're
Yeah,
not seeing a
100%.
division. There's not a northern and a southern kingdom in
Nope.
the heaven.
Nope.
They are unified, and they're creating, and they're doing the will of the Father, and they're walking. And remember, as he's going through, he did it. I keep hearing, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain. Because we'll see at the very end, when, like Brenda said, Moses walks through and he's like, it is good. You know, we talked a couple weeks ago. This is a parallel to the creation. He's going to walk through and be like, this looks good, because he saw it in heaven. It is as it is on earth. What are the things that we're building in our life? Are we hearing
Oh,
from the Holy
yeah.
One?
Yeah.
I'm saying,
What are we
Father,
building?
submit my plans and my ways that they're your ways. Lord, that you direct my path, that you direct
Yes.
the way that I go, because I want my life to be on earth as it is in heaven. I want to be that reflection. I want my family to look that way. I want ministries that I touch, places that I go, that it's on earth as it is in heaven. And one of the best ways to do that is taking the day out, taking your Shabbat, so that you actually can hear what's happening in heaven. I have a pause and new talk. When one of the things I touch bases with Deborah Flanagan and we talk a lot about this concept, is that when you are reaching out to each other, one of the first things we should be asking each other is, what is the Holy One doing? What's the Lord doing in your
I
life?
love that.
Tell me what he's saying this week.
I love that.
Because, and we hear Simi saying it, we always refer back to her, because she's like, I need you to be doing what you're supposed to be doing
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
body, because I can't walk this life out, this Torah pursuant life. I cannot walk this out without you. I can't walk it out unless you're doing what you're hearing him saying. I need you to be Shabbating so that you can hear from him. I
Yeah.
need you to be doing those things so that I can hear from him. I have a cousin that I met for dinner, him and his wife, and we sat for dinner, and it was beautiful. It was a fun, I mean, I haven't seen my family for 20 years. Most of my family lives here in South Carolina. We're sitting at dinner, and he pastors a little church for a long, long time. He's such a neat man. And I said, hey, tell me what the Lord's doing with your congregation. Like, what are you hearing? What is he saying? And he just looked at me and he goes, I don't know. And he was so sad. And like, I thought, I wish I would have asked him 5 years ago. I wish I would have asked him last week, because I
Mhm.
want someone to hold me accountable. Because if I'll be, don't call me, because now the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what is he saying? Tell me what he's saying to you, because together, together we'll make the book, right?
Right.
He's telling me this, when he's telling you this, and we get to add all the sentences together, and together it's a book, right? So we need you to be posting in the portion. Hey, I was praying, and the Father is just sharing the joy of what he's doing. He's taught me this. Sometimes when I ask you, or you ask each other, the answer might be, which my husband and we said that today, we were laughing. We said, the answer might be, well, it's kind of personal, but pray for me because he's doing some stuff. But at least I want to hold us to hold each other's feet to the fire. I want us that when we've all brought in our bronze glasses, we've looked through darkly,
Ooh, love
hyperlink.
that. Yes.
We
Yes.
see this,
Yeah.
in moving on to 38, verse
Yeah.
8.
Verse 8.
We hear it in First Corinthians. He says, though I see through a glass darkly. They were looking in their mirrors. You know, I want you to be able to, you're taking that and you're melting it down, that when you look and you can wash your hands and your feet, you
Mhm.
can enter the presence of the Lord. You're taking the things that reflect your reflection now is coming through is getting ready to go into his presence, because you've come through the fire. Nothing is left because it's gone through the fire now. And now you're just washing off the remnants, because he says he's taking beauty for ashes. Beauty for ashes, sisters, the ashes are right behind you at the altar. They're right behind you. He's taken that, and he's taken the beauty that you used to gaze into these mirrors to look at, these old things. He's taken all that now. He's making this beautiful. So now you're looking into yourself and washing yourself to make yourself clean to be in his presence. And then you get to share with us, like, what the heck's going on? And it might be, well, not, it's kind of scary. And he's working some personal things out in me, but I can't wait till next week to have a different story, hopefully. But I want us to be asking each other, sisters, ask each other. That's what being a community, holding each other accountable, not in a religious way, but you should be anticipating like what's happening. And it broke my heart for my cousin to be like, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. I guess I really need to know that. I said, oh, but how excited, what a great place to be at. What a great place for him to be at right now, because now he's at 0, right? Who doesn't love that? That's a positive number. You're at least
Oh,
something negative.
gee.
So he's at 0, and he gets to now reach out to the Holy One. He doesn't have a bunch of his own plans or ideas because he's exhausted. He's been doing this ministry for a long time. And now he'll get to hear fresh things from the Holy One.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling like, I don't know what he's saying, I don't want that to discourage you,
Right.
because he just wanted to pour out. I mean, it's just a few hours till sundown, and just let him pour in his spirit. Let him heal. Let him speak new things to
Yes.
you. Let him surround you and tell you all the things that Brenda just read, that
Mm.
he's going to chase down your children. He's going to chase you down. He's renewing. You're born again. You are walking in this renewed covenant with him. He's got life that he wants to pour over you, joy he wants to pour over you. You may have been crying for the night, but he says joy comes in the morning. These are
Mhm.
all the things he wants to just reignite in you. It's
Yes. Yes, I love that. Charlie, you've mentioned that several times about the mirrors being melted down, the bronze being melted down, the mirrors of the women. And I read somewhere, I think last week, that it's not just the reflection that when you're looking in the bronze, you're looking into the bronze laver now. You're looking and you're seeing your reflection. It's not just your reflection, but think about it. That represents all the reflections of all the women who offered their mirrors,
yes.
and all of the women. It's about
Again, these are
unity.
women. The women
These are
did it.
women that did
And they
this.
use
Yes.
these, and then if you listen to commentary on this, the women used, they said that what such a beautiful thing that it was is because those mirrors were used to help with the proliferation of the families of the tribes, to keep them,
Hmm.
meaning the women used them to make themselves beautiful for their husbands, so then they could entice to be keep the family going. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So they took all that was in their own strength, their own beauty, their own things to make them to count their numbers. And because we're going to start, we just went through this non-census, right?
Hmm.
And now they're saying, here's everything. These women did it again. Not only
Yeah.
are we holding together, is that Isha clasping hands and holding tents together, but now the women came in and donated. And isn't our God so good? He loved us so much to say, you're so important that I'm going to make sure you all know I still need your contributions. I still want you on earth as it is in heaven. That
Yeah.
part of my spirit, because remember, together we are one, together it's God, and we're then the two parts, male, female. We are, he's that female heart of God, that part of God that's us, is the part that wants to reflect back at us. The word laver is actually also the Hebrew word is also equivalent to a furnace. I believe it's a lavar. I wrote it somewhere. Kavar. It's equal to a furnace.
Wow. Well, that's purifying, right?
Kayar. I wrote it down. Let's see if you can read. This is an old note. Brenda, can you? No, it's green.
It won't,
I don't have
it's
a
a
green
green.
screen. Can
So
you read from here? Can you see them? The letters? Oh, wait. And
pull it back just a tiny bit. I love
there.
technology.
Can you see this? Can you read them? The letters in Hebrew above my finger?
Well, I'm not quite sure. It could be a kaf, a resh, and a kaf sofit, but I'm not sure. But the word is lever, you said? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the
Laver?
laver,
Mhm.
the
Okay,
laver,
let me look
and
it up real
it's
quick.
kayar, and I feel like it's kaf resh. Is there a resh sofit? Is that a thing?
No, it would be a kaf sofit.
Kaf sofit.
Mhm.
Anyway, so look it up. But that whole thing, look up that word. You guys
I'm gonna
go
look it
look
up
in
real
Blue
quick.
Letter Bible. I'm not going to say Google it. Look in the Blue Letter
Thank
Bible. But I want
you.
you to look up that word, and I want you to embrace it. Especially, it's so fun that I mean, he specifically says, here's the thing that all the women did. And we're not, again, I feel like we shouldn't have to say this every time, but we're not trying to say women are better. I think it's fun for you to know that it was so important that he said, here's what we did. This was the part we played in it, that we
Yeah.
we specifically brought our things in, and what a beautiful thing. And all the places where we see about, I mean, I just think it's beautiful that's right after the ashes, after after things are burnt, on the altar, we're submitting these things to him. Then we get to go and wash our hands and our feet. We get to gaze into it. I feel like we get to see our reflection, then becomes the reflection of him. It's
Yes.
him. It's who we are in him. It's
Mhm.
that reflection of everything, as close as we can be to him as we can be, like right there, right? We've just released everything, and then now we get to see ourselves the way he sees us. I don't know.
Yes.
That seems beautiful to me. I don't know how to say it better.
Okay. You said it perfectly. And it's kur is the word. It's kaf, vav, resh. So it's kur, and it is a furnace. That's the root word of the cure, which is the word that you were saying.
There we
So
go.
it's kaf, Vav, which is it's just a little bit smaller than the resh, and then the last letter is a resh. Kaf Vav Resh, and it's Kur. And that's, if you guys want to look it up, H3564 in the Hebrew Blue Letter Bible. You guys all should be using the Blue Letter Bible. It's free, and we gave you guys a free video on how to use it. So
go in there, look it up,
yeah,
use it.
Look it up.
This is
it's
really
great.
where
it's
you
great.
We want you there, and we're going to start holding you accountable this year. We want you in there looking words up.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that? What's a kaf?
Oh, geez.
What are your favorite letters?
So a kaf is, it would be like, it looks like this. A kaf is the cupped hand. It's an open palm, and the kaf is also representative. So it's the hand of God. It's this open hand. It's the palm, actually. Okay, so it's the cup. It's the cup part of it, but it also represents winged creatures, seraphim, cherubim, who are their wings are flapping. So the kaf is representing the rapid flapping movement that happens with wings. So that kaf is bringing forth, because where are the seraphim and the cherubim? Where are they? Well, the cherubim they're everywhere, but remember, they're at the garden protecting the way into the Garden of Eden, right? They're standing there. They're also over the mercy seat, right? They're there. And the seraphim are in the throne room, and they're crying out, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty." And their wings are flapping, and the words that are coming from the throne room of God are being moved with the rapid movement of the wings. And that's what we're receiving. It's his words, his breath, his ruach, what comes from the throne, that's being brought to us. And that's in the letter kaf. It's that. It's his open palm. It's him saying, "Here, this is what I have for you. This is what I have." And it's the wings flapping, moving the air, moving his words to where they need to go. So, and then the vav, of course, we already talked about that little skinny letter vav. It's the connection, and the resh is the head of man right here. It's being an ambassador. It's being a little king. It's being the reflection of the Holy One himself in when you're walking in his ways. Okay, you can go the other way too. You can take your head and you can walk the way of your intellect. You can do that too. But what we're talking about here is the movement, the moving power of the Ruach HaKodesh, breathing forth the words of the King, bringing them into us, connecting them to us. That's what's happening here in the midst of this building of the tabernacle.
That's what's happening at this moment, this spot.
That's what's happening at this moment.
This place. These women brought their mirrors, and what did he take those mirrors and turn them into? Those mirrors were turned into a place where there was a connection. You heard it. There was a connection to the presence, to the connection of man to the Holy One.
Right.
And it was at that place.
And what does his presence do? His presence is fire. His presence burns. His presence consumes. It purifies. It beautifies. So instead of looking at our way of beautifying, he's saying, "Be in my presence and let my presence beautify you." And it will, and it does. And it's changing the direction of the resh is the head of man. So it's your mind, will, it's your thoughts, I should say. It's your intellect. It's the way that you think, but it's also the way that you walk. Resh is a king off of his throne. It's walking into situations. And when we are gathered, when we allow ourselves to be in the presence of the Holy One, then where we're walking, where we're going, where we're leading as ambassadors of his kingdom, then that, it's profitable. It's a blessing to those that are around us, right? Yeah. Instead of just being led by our intellect, which can take us all kinds of crazy places. Hello, new agey, all that stuff, right? So
Yeah.
that's what this beauty is coming from, Charlie. I love it. I just love it. Thank you, because Kaf really is one of my favorite letters. Of course, they're all my favorite, but it is one of my favorite letters because it so represents how the Holy One meets us right where we are. He moves things so that we hear his words, we hear his presence, we hear his voice in the cloud. That's what's happening. It's that movement. It's
Mm.
beautiful. And it's that generosity of his hands being open and him giving to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When we go into this next parsha,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote over here in the comments that Pekudei, is that how we say it?
Pekudei.
Pekudei. There
Mm-hmm.
you go. Pekudei. The root is pakad, which is, I don't know how's your mine is translated. And these are the accounts of the tabernacle of the testimony. It's the visitation.
Visitation.
It's a
Mm-hmm.
visitation.
Mm-hmm.
It's what this next section is really talking about, the visitation of the Holy One to the tabernacle. This is the section when he's saying, this is when he descends. And I want you to, it'd be
So
interesting for you to go through
beautiful.
this and compare it to the Acts when the people were gathered for Sukkot. Go through and compare the two stories this tomorrow. Check out what's happening in Acts when they're all gathered together, and fire comes down, and the presence
Oof.
of his presence comes down and lights on them. And oh wait, we talked about this before. 3,000 are added to them.
Mm-hmm.
Curiously, the same amount that were killed in the golden calf incident,
Yep.
possibly hyperlink. We'll see. But really interesting to me that this route it's not just a visitation like, oh hey, I came by, I was driving by and I was in the neighborhood. This word is a visitation for a specific purpose,
Yes, I love that. Yes. Yes.
that there is a reason, and his whole purpose. We know he's calling us back to the garden. We know he's calling us into our purpose. And our purpose is to be in the garden with him, and to care and to tend for things, and to walk in who we are supposed to be in our communities. We're going to keep pulling you back into that, sister. We want to shake you up. We want you to walk in who you're called to be. And if you don't know, let's help you know. Let's get before his presence. One of the first things when someone says, well, I don't know what my calling or my purpose is, I'm going to say, what? Talk to me about your Shabbats. Are you spending time with him asking? Well, I don't really do that. I'm busy and I've got things. All right, well, try that. And then we'll talk again. Like, because I can't tell you anything he's not already telling you. But if you're spending some time in his presence, what is he saying to you? And it's like, well, he's not saying anything. Okay, then let's go from there. But I want to encourage you to spend some time in his presence, spend some time he wants to tell you. Can you imagine if your
Yes, he
kid said,
does.
hey mom, um, what is it that you need me to do today? I'm just here. I want to serve you. What are some things I can do for you today? Are you going to send them away,
Mm,
send them packing and be
so
like, get out?
good.
Quit asking me? You're not going to ignore them and not talk to them. Of course you're going to answer them. Of course you're going to give them a list. He wants you to feel valued. He wants you to feel honored. He wants you to know where who maybe you're supposed to be grabbing hands with, who you're not supposed to be grabbing hands with, because you would
Right.
be out of order and you'd be trying to grab the tent. You're trying to grab hands with someone who's catty corner and then the tent looks wanky. He's saying, no, I want you to grab this hand. So there's reasons that we need to be in his presence. I know I'm taking you back there, but we're going to go right into where he's in his presence. And when it's all said and done in this, I want to read something for you. When it's all said and done, Moses um, tells them, and then he blesses them, and then it is heard, or it is believed that he then speaks Psalms 90 over them. And I'm going to just read the last part of Psalms 90,
Oh,
16, 17,
beautiful.
and 18, or 16 and 17. Psalms 90, 16, and 17. And I feel like this should be our prayer. This should be your prayer as you go to work. This should be a prayer as you wake and you're doing work in your home with your families. And he says, I'll go 15. Gladden us for as many days as you have humbled us, as many years as we have seen misery. Oh, Father, yes. God, I pray right now for every woman, for
Yes,
myself, for my
Father.
family, that you will gladden me. You will gladden them.
Yes, Father.
For every year that we maybe have, our choices have made us miserable, our forgetting about, not knowing, ignorance has made us miserable. I thank you that you are taking and you are restoring those and you're turning them to joy, Father. I thank you for that, Father, that all these years that you're restoring those. Let your work appear to your servants and your splendor on their children. Yes, Father, I pray that for every
Yes,
home right
yes,
now. As we're preparing for these next weeks, Father, as we're preparing for Passover, as we're preparing to walk out your calendar, some of us for the first time, so we don't know what we're doing, that Father, you would prepare us for your work. Whatever you've put, ask us callings in our lives, that you would make our callings and elections sure. We would know who we are and whose we are and what we're supposed to be doing, Father, and let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us. Father, your favor is abounding in each home right now, in each life. I thank
yes,
you as it is abounding, and that you are at the next part, establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work
yes.
of our hands. Father, I thank you that right now you are establishing the work of our hands. Every woman here, you're establishing the work of their hands, that their arms would be strong for the tasks, that their hands would know what to do. Anointings like you've given these men to build this tabernacle, visions to bring heaven to earth in their homes, in their work, in their families, in their
Yes,
friends, in their
yes,
relationships, that you are showing them, Father, their hands know the work that
yes,
you've called them to. Father,
yes.
amen. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Oh,
That is,
we prayed twice.
wow, that's powerful. You know,
Get
when
religious.
you said Pakad is the root of um, Pekudei, uh, when I was sharing with you about the earlier part of Exodus where the Holy One says that he will visit the families, that's the word. Pakad, that's the word, where he's visiting the children. We think we look at that and we think he's gonna, I mean, everybody has to pay for the sins of the 4 generations up. And it sounds really horrible, like your children are going to be, your children are going to have these sins upon them and there's nothing you can do about it. But what he's saying is he's going to visit that, because it does go through the bloodline. So he's going to visit that. He's going to purposefully, intentfully make a visitation to each and every generation, each and
Oh,
every one. He's coming
I just got
to the
chills.
door. He's knocking at the door. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. He's knocking on the doors. So how we live our lives, not what we say with our lips, but how we live our lives, and hopefully that will come out in words that are life-giving. That is the preparation, because he's coming after our kids. He's coming
Yes.
after our grandkids. He's coming after our aunts and uncles. He's coming after our parents.
He's
He's
coming after
coming after
you.
them. He's coming after you. He's coming after each and every one of us. He will not leave them unvisited, not any generation.
Yes.
So no one's hopeless. Nothing is beyond his redemptive plan. So live your life, put your feet on the Shabbat,
His
put your
arm is
feet
not
down
too
and
short
say,
that he can't knock on their
exactly,
door.
exactly.
So
Follow
can
his
you do
ways, even if you
Pakad?
don't get it.
Can you
Just
do Pakad for us? Can we just go through that word? Because I want him to see it. Because I know I heard you say it he's standing at the door. We talk.
he's
It's a
standing at
pay.
the,
It's a
yeah, well,
pay.
the pay, the first, well, let me look it up in the Hebrew, make sure that I'm spelling it right. So
I
the
think.
first letter is a pay, which is the mouth. So it's what
Mhm.
comes out of your mouth, but it's not just what comes out of your mouth. It's the words that are being spoken forth. It's your testimony. It's everything that's within you, what's coming out of your mouth. Pakad is a visitation. So how are you visiting? How are you partnering with the Holy One to visit people? How are you partnering with the Holy One to visit those that are not walking in his ways? What are the words that are coming out of your mouth that are participating in that
And
visitation?
are your words are there for the right purpose, right? Are the words when David's saying, God, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight? Do your
Yes.
words have pakad? Are they a visit? Does your presence? Are you? Do your words go before you and they actually they they complete a purpose
Yeah.
as they
Right.
visit people, as they are alive and breathe life into people, or is the purpose
Yes.
death? Is that what's happening? And then what's
Oh,
next? Are we
oh,
kof?
the kof. Yeah, the
Yeah.
kof is in the Hebrew, it's a kaf and it's a vav, and they come together, but they don't touch. They come together like this. So it's a kaf and a vav put together, and that's called kof. Or some people pronounce it kuf. So that is like an enclosed territory. It's a representation of the holiness of God, because that's where the kof is the letter that we have, kadosh. It's the letter that we have for holy. And so it's the back of the head. It's the back of the head as a point of origin of communication. That's kind of what it's like if you're trying to like put that letter together. But listen, what are the words that are pouring over the head, or what is the head, the point of communication? What is that head? What is being poured out from your mouth over that head? And the place of territory that that person is operating in. What is your testimony over that place and that territory of what that person is operating in? Okay, so think of it not only, there's so many images in the Hebrew for the letters. One of the images, of course, I said is the back of the head. The other image is the territory, like a walled territory. So where are they walking? Where has God placed them? Where's the territory? Where's your territory? Are they within your territory? Don't be messing with other people's territories.
Yeah.
If they're in your territory, if they're in your sphere of influence, yes. If they're not, no. And then the third letter is Pekad, right?
Is it
The
Dalit?
It's the door. It's the portal. It's the portal to the realm. It's the portal to the next realm. It's so your words are speaking life over the territory that he's given to you. This is the visitation, the territory that he's given to you, and it's taking you into, because it's always moving forward, it's taking you into the next realm. So what are your words?
That's the
tabernacle. Where is the territory? Where is the door taking you? Where is the next realm that movement is happening? Because it's always moving. Okay.
Right.
So
we see this in this whole as we're finishing this out, we see that is the tabernacle. The words were spoken, telling them what their territory was, where they were going, showing them an enclosed area where they would be able to meet him, which included a door for them to come through, so they could meet with him, and he could speak life over them, and he could breathe that over them. It's the visitation. He's saying, I'm going to have a visitation with you, and there will be a purpose. There's going to be a purpose.
You throw these things at me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm stumbling.
I do this
Charlie,
every week to her.
I know.
Every week.
Can you give me a heads up so I could think?
I know, right?
No, because then I would be using my intellect, and that's not what he wanted.
He did this all, and they did it, and they built it the way he said to build it.
Yeah, they did. Guess what?
They moved when he said move. They stayed when he said stay. I mean, they were like, we got it. Whatever you say, let's do it.
Exactly as Adonai had ordered Moses.
Exactly.
It's all good. Exactly as Adonai had ordered. They had done it. And what did Moshe do? Bam. Baruch atah.
Yep.
Guess what? The beginning of every Shabbat. Baruch atah. Baruch atah. Adonai Eloheinu. Let's go.
Oh, look who's singing today.
I know, right? Who can't sing? It's Shabbat.
Yeah.
Because what happens when that is complete? They stop their work. And they do not do this on Shabbat. And why? Because when the Holy One builds something, it functions through Shabbat. Yeah. It continues its function through Shabbat. And I think we forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
The earth doesn't stop moving on Shabbat. The sun doesn't stop rising or setting. The stars are still doing what they do, singing their songs. Everything has a function and a purpose, and it's being accomplished. But we're told, let it be what it is. Let it function properly. You step back. Now we get to have our interchange with the Holy One during that time of Shabbat. We don't have to try to hold everything together. We don't have to create things. We don't have to build things. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is just sitting under the weightiness of his glory, his beauty, and his majesty. And that's honoring him.
Exactly.
So how does it look for you? It's going to look different for everybody. It's okay.
And that's why Paul tells us,
or a two-wheeler.
Paul tells us some things are allowed for some people, some things are not allowed for other people. Just stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And just keep seeking him.
Start
And
where
the
you're
only
at.
thing we can hold each other accountable is if we're saying, what is he saying to you? And it might be, you know what, last week, I thought it was okay for me to do this, but he showed me this week he wants me, it's now not permissible for me to do that. Now
Yeah.
more is given, so more is required. He's
Right.
giving me some new things. I want us to be able to share, because what happens, I'm going to say this, people are won over by the blood of the lamb and the
Yeah.
word of your testimony.
That's it.
It's the
That's
word
right.
of your testimony. So testify, ladies, testify what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the world, tell people, what is he doing? Let that be your testimony on your Facebook page. This is what he's
Right.
doing. I was praying and this is what he was speaking to me and I wanted to share with you. Anyone else? I would love to hear what he's saying to you. What if that's
Yeah.
what's happening? And so that takes us into a new month. We're going into a new month. We have a new moon coming up.
Mm-hmm.
New moon happens now, double check me, because you know how I am now. I don't trust myself.
Wow.
Sundown, I think Saturday.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's
New
sundown on
moon.
Saturday. Yeah.
We have the new moon for the month of Nisan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my birth month. Brenda,
Yeah.
yours too.
Me too.
This is Brenda's birth month. This is our birth month, the month of Nisan. Um, I recommend going over, go to Grace and Torah and watch Keisha Gallagher's teaching. It's like actually
Yes.
one of her shorter ones. It's like a half hour, and watch her
Mhm.
teaching on, it's so beautiful about being born again. What a beautiful time and a season for that. It is not an accident that, we do not believe in astrology. Let me prep. I have to do the things. We don't believe in
Do the
astrology.
disclaimer, sister.
Disclaimer. I need to have the really fast thing that goes across the screen. We do not believe in astrology to chart your courses and to know what you should do the next day. None of those things. What else? But what we do believe is that the Lord has put the constellations for us to know the times in the season, and that
Moedim.
they're the Moedim, so that we would know the Moedim. And right now, the constellation that is teaching us the Moedim is the Ram.
Wow.
It is in the skies. It is, you'll hear it learn Greek terms, as the Aries. You'll hear people go, oh, I'm an Aries. Well, the stars were for a Moedim, to tell us about the Moedim. The Moedim is the ram. It's to tell us about the ram that was slain before the foundations of the earth. This is a time about being born again.
Mm-hmm.
There is a sense over this month, and we talk about sense each month. We get the opportunity every new moon, right, to celebrate. It's a minor holiday, a minor festival that we get to celebrate the being born again, the renewing of a moon, the renewing of things, another time that we get to thank God that we're here.
Yeah.
But we get to do this time of the year. It's truly a renewal. It's a new time. And the sense for the month is our speech, which is not a coincidence that that this is a season we're celebrating coming up is going to be Pesach.
Yeah. That's right.
Pesach. A
Mm-hmm.
mouth that speaks, Pesach. Interesting that Pharaoh, the opposite, he was the mouth that spoke the bad things, because we always talk about there's always the contronyms, right? There's one,
Yes, always.
yeah. And I just want you to grasp this when Yeshua was saying, you know what? Yeah, you can do this, but you have to be born again. Well, what did that really mean? And of course, it meant that he was hyperlinking. You needed to go back, and they were taken through the waters. They were taken through they were taken through Mitzrayim, the birth canal. They were taken through all of this, and they were delivered. They were delivered by the blood of the Lamb. And I just want you to be encouraged that as this season is happening, that you embrace every part of it, and that you share share your testimony.
Yes. Your testimony, not just your words, but your life. What are you walking out?
Well, your
Just walk it
testimony,
out.
that's the purpose. We just said
That's right.
it's the visitation. Your testimony is
Yeah.
your visitation. Is the pekad, right? The pekad with a
Mm-hmm.
testimony with a purpose. And your purpose is on earth as it is in heaven, that you are achad, that you are one with each other, that you're one with him, that you are seeking those things. And this is a time when you get to renew. You're where you are, shake it off, and saying, oh, I messed up, just shake it off.
Yeah.
This is a time when you get to renew. I'd love to hear from you. Posts wherever you're listening from. Let us know, how are you celebrating the new moon for Nisan? What are you doing? What are your plans? What are your plans in 2 weeks for Pesach as you start? You guys do know that as this word is being handed down to Moses, when we start talking about Shavuot, the Feast of Pentecost, it's heard of, for the Shavuot was the giving of the word.
Yes.
So we'll revisit that again when that happens. But some of us are super new. Some of you in here are very new, and there's a lot of words we're saying that can be confusing, but we're talking about a new moon. You'll hear us say Rosh Chodesh, which means it's a new moon.
Head of the month.
The head of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear us say that. Nisan is the name of the Hebrew month. Yeah, exciting.
It is exciting. The word Pesach, it has that samech in it. It's pei samech het, and that pei is the mouth, and the samech is the cycle. It's the never-ending cycles, the moedim. It's the cycles of life. It is the life experiences that are constantly going. Sometimes you're high, sometimes it's like, oh, I'm not gonna, oh, this is really tough. Wait a minute, hold on, okay, and here we go, and we're up again.
And I didn't do that last year, and I'm gonna do it better next year. And I didn't even know it was time, and I'm not ready.
Right.
So
and the het, which is the huppah, which is where you learn things in a place of safety. It's where you make covenant in a place of safety. And the Pesach is also the time that when the lambs are getting chosen on the 14th. The lambs get chosen for the Passover offering, the olah that come in before the Lord with the lambs. And so they are all getting inspected. And guess what, guys? We're getting inspected right now. And so if you are finding that you're getting irritated very easily, and if you are finding that you're getting offended very easily, and if you're finding that things are happening in your life that you thought you'd already taken care of, it's okay, because this is a time when these things are going to start coming up. The leavening is supposed to be taken out of your homes, removed. It's all a process. The reason that we do it is because it's a process that's already happening in the natural. So we do it in the physical because it really is happening in the natural already, and spiritually.
Yes.
And so we start gathering up our leaven. And if you're doing that, the word says to gather up your leaven, and don't eat leaven during the Feast of Unleavened Bread after Passover. Don't do it. Don't eat that. And the whole reason for that is it's this purification of checking out where you're at, like what's going on with you, what's yeasty and stinky in you. And so those things are going to start coming up, and it's kind of
your pride, all the things that make you feel prideful. And you know what, pride, you sometimes think that pride is someone being so puffed up that that's the pride, but the opposite of the puffed up is pitiful. So if you find yourself offended all the time, I recommend the book, The Bait of Satan. If you hear yourself saying, well, everyone always does that to me. Well, you're the common denominator, because there's a lot of people on this planet. So everyone isn't always doing anything to you. There's something you're doing that's causing this to happen. So I want you to take some look. If you're feeling pitiful all the time, or you always feel like you're the victim, or people always are hurting you, or you're always offended, like you notice that you're offended constantly, you're always offended at something or someone, then he wants to deal with that. That's pride. That's the opposite of what you think. Like someone's like pride, but the opposite of that is the victim part of pride. It's the other side of that coin. And I want you to be healed of that this year. I want you to be delivered of it. Isn't that fun?
Amen. Yes.
That you just get to lay it all down, and you just get to, that's part of you just getting born again. Let's just let it all go.
Let's just be born again and again and again and again. Yeah.
Yay. I know. They have, there's a question, and I'm going to speak to some super beginners right now. So there is it would be confusing. I remember for me, I would think, well, wait a minute. I thought the first of the year was back over when we do the whole Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. I thought that was all like the first of the year stuff. And then now, why are they saying this is the first of the year? I don't understand that. Well, I really do recommend that you do watch Keisha Gallagher over in Grace and Torah on YouTube. She does a really great job explaining this, but I will just say it's the renewing of the year of it. It's kind of like you have a birthday. That's your birthday, the day you were born every year. And then you might have a day that you celebrate when you were born again, when you come to the knowledge of who he is and who you are. There may be a day that you celebrate that's like that. Now, if you can kind of think of Passover as that, as Pesach as that, this is this month Nisan is the beginning of Nisan, that this is the first of the feasts. It's the first of you being renewed. So it's like the Brit Hadashah, it's a renewing of a covenant. It's a time when we renew. So just encourage you for that. Anything to add to that? Because I know that I want to speak to that, because I know there's several maybe you're too embarrassed to say that. Like, I don't get it. I thought we already had a new year. Like the date doesn't, we're still in 5781 as far as the Hebrew year.
Mhm.
Um, it doesn't change the Hebrew calendar. It's just, anything to add to that, Brenda, that you can think
No,
of?
it's yeah, it's just think of it as lots of great ways to start over.
Yeah, that's right.
How about if we just get born again today? Let's just do it. And
All the
it's really,
time.
thank you so much, Charlie, for that. And also for all of our newbies and for those of us that are not newbies that we just forget and so we're new.
I'm new every
That's
day.
me. That's me. It's wait, his mercies are new every morning. I got that one. Um, uh, just please have grace for yourselves.
Yeah,
Have grace for yourself and definitely have grace for others. And so if you find yourself getting irritated, take it to the Holy One because
yeah,
I want to promise you something. If you're finding that you're getting irritated, if you're finding that something or someone or some situation keeps pushing your buttons, there is a reason for it because the Holy One loves you so much. He doesn't want you continuing from the place that you're at, and he wants to bring healing. That's the only reason that keeps coming up over and over and over again. It's not about them getting healed. It's about you getting healed. It's about you getting healed so that when they push your buttons, you're not responding. You're not reacting. You are praying. You're saying, Father, I see what's happening here and I can have grace for them now. I'm taking them to the throne. So it
yes,
takes the power of that wound away. And so I'm just asking you that if you are finding yourself irritated or if you're finding yourself offended, especially offended, a lot of that goes on during this time of the year. Uh, um, if you are finding that, then just take it to the Holy One and ask him, what is it within me that needs to be uh, found out? It's hidden.
yes.
And what needs to be exposed in me? It doesn't need to be exposed publicly at all.
No, no.
Just you
He just wants to
privately.
take it.
He
He
just wants
wants
to
you to bring
take
it to
you
the altar, let it burn away. He
yes.
wants the ashes to be scooped away and then so that
Yeah.
you can go to the laver and you can just
Yes.
wash all up and you can enter into his presence. And you watch when you allow him to heal that in you and and the sweetness of his presence changes. I mean, it just gets so much deeper because
Yes.
that thing in you, that wound isn't trying to go in with you.
Yeah.
And it's so cool when that
Yeah.
happens. And it's so cool that when you can be like, oh wow. And then of course it'll happen again just so he can show you that he healed you of it.
Right. How far you've come.
Yeah. Not
Maybe it takes you
remember,
10, maybe it only takes you 5 seconds to get over it instead of 3 days.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. You get to take that thought captive because irritation and offense is not a fruit of the spirit, right, Brenda?
Right.
And when he says, how do I do? He's just wanting you to ask to love. I had something that was super irritating to me this week. I'm going to confession. So it was a person. Oh my gosh, so irritated. It was so made me so upset. And I stopped and I'm praying. I'm like, you need to deal with her. This is just really. And then he was like, it's always comes, it's not about them ever. It's always about you, meaning me. It's always about like God, he's needing to fix me. And I'm like, I know. So what do I need to do? Because I
Yeah.
really just don't like her. I don't want to do this. And he said, you don't have to like her. I want you to pray for me to show you how to love her.
Mm.
And I started praying about how do I love this person? And all of a sudden I saw her differently. I was able to respond, not react differently. I was able to like, it was just so different. I still maybe don't like that person. They're not going to like, I'm not going to want to hang out and do things, but that's okay. I don't have to like everyone, but I do have to love everyone. And love isn't offended. Love is long suffering and love is patient. So you don't pray for patience, you pray for more love. You don't pray for being more long suffering, you pray for more love. Because if you have love, you'll have those other things. That's how you have all those gifts. That's how you have all those fruit, is when you pray for more love. So I'm just praying for you guys to be so overwhelmed because greater love has no man, right? Or woman, than you'd lay your
Right.
life down. And that's what he did during this season. This is what's happening this month as he laid his life down. That's what happened, as we even see in this tabernacle. There'll be lives laid down. There'll be sacrifices made that are symbolic of what he did for us. He laid it all down so that we could have that kind of love for each other and grasp hands and bring that into this earth as it is in heaven.
Hmm. Yes. Amen. 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 Someone mentioned that they're dealing with trauma, and what I was addressing was not necessarily trauma. Um, it's a little bit different. And so trust him that he will bring healing from every aspect when you're dealing with
Yes.
trauma, from every aspect. It's not,
Yeah, please
it's,
understand, we
it's
never address, we're not
different.
addressing, we
Yes,
are
we're
not
not.
psychologists. We're not
No,
addressing deep wound issues that might need
no.
a might need a skilled professional to help you through that. And
Yeah.
Maxine Golden she's a great trauma specialist. She's one of our ladies in here,
Mm-hmm.
but she is a trained professional, Torah pursuant,
Yes.
godly woman who will
Yes.
walk you through trauma
Yes.
special, and we
She's
recommend
very, very
reaching
good.
out to
We
her.
highly recommend
This is
her.
not, this is, and we love you, and our hearts break that
Yes.
you're hurt and wounded. For
Yes.
you ladies, please, we're talking about the petty stuff that we deal with,
Yes.
not the
Yes.
traumatic wounds. So please
Yes.
know that. So I have there's my thing. So I love you guys. Time to
And
go.
there's your see
And
ya.
there's my thing.
All
Gosh, I
right.
love you all so much.
Love
Can't wait to
you.
see you next week. Yes, we'll be here next week. It'll be the week
Yeah.
after. We'll be
Guys,
pausing.
we
But
will
guys,
be here next week. Please,
yes,
please, if anybody saw only the first 30 seconds of this program, they're going to not be here next week. So forgive us.
we'll do lots of post. Now we do
We'll do
lots of
lots of posting.
postings next week. Yeah.
Yes.
Love you all. Mean it. For all of you staying for the after party, I can't wait to hear all about it. Mwah. I'll
You're
see
going
you
to
later,
make me,
my friend.
you want to make me host, and I'll just stay for the after party.
You got it, sister. I'm gonna
Thanks.
stop recording. Love all of you. We are stopping. Yes, yes.